You got a diamond, you got 9 men, got a hat and a bat, and that's not all.
Get ready to play ball. The Blue Jays are back on the field tonight to open their 2026 season. Good afternoon. The team will be squaring off against the Athletics to launch their 50th anniversary season.
Expectations are high for the ball club after they fell just short of winning their first World Series in 32 years last season. CTV Sean Leathong joins us live from the Rogers Centre to tee things up. Sean, just a few hours away.
Just a few hours. It's what everyone's been waiting for since November 2nd, the day after Game 7 of the World Series. The Blue Jays were within an inch of making it to the mountaintop, and now the climb starts all over again. But fans wanted this sequel to happen more than anything because 2025 was such a fun ride. Now the expectations are higher, and fans say it couldn't be much more exciting. Here's some that we caught up with today.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Everyone's going to be all hyped up. It's a sold-out game, so the atmosphere is going to be awesome, so I can't wait for that.
It's huge. On the subway, everybody was abuzz. Everybody was talking about the Blue Jays. The chances have we're taking the World Series this year.
And what a high that we're coming off, right? I mean, last year was just incredible.
Great year. We picked up a few good players. Unfortunately, we lost one great one. But we'll make do, and Blue Jays always seem to prevail.
It's very exciting for this year. 50th, hopefully make it to the World Series, you know. Yeah.
Does it feel like this is something everyone's talking about this morning?
Definitely, yeah. There's a whole bunch of people down there waiting to get tickets.
Now, you heard them mention that one player had departed. That is, of course, Bo Bichette. He's gone to the New York Mets. Kazuma Okamoto is a new player coming in for the Blue Jays. But the man going on the hill for the Blue Jays tonight, Kevin Gausman, who has been just the most stable force amongst the pitching staff, a much improved pitching staff going into this season. He'll get the ball tonight for the Toronto Blue Jays. And yesterday, he talked about what it means starting this season in the guise of, especially since what happened last year.
For me, this is a lot more special because I've been here for 4 years and feel like I've kind of earned the right to get it, I guess. But also, you know, even more so just after being in the World Series last year, I think, you know, being able to be on that team last year and then start the first game of this season, to me is just the ultimate, you know, level of respect. And yeah, I definitely don't take it for granted.
Now, the Blue Jays have to get through the American League East, and you may know it's the most difficult division in baseball. Just to give you a sense of how difficult it is so far, it's opening day for the Blue Jays. They're already a half game back of the Yankees, the Orioles, and the Red Sox, who all played yesterday, and they won. So they've got their work cut out for them. First pitch tonight is at 7:07. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. I'll send it back to the desk.
Already behind. All right, thank you, Sean. We got more news in a moment, but first, here's a live look at the city this afternoon. There's a shot of Rogers Centre. And it's either clear skies and cool air or cloudy skies and warm air. We can't seem to get both. Let's bring in Lindsay Morrison, who's outside Rogers Centre, and at least they're playing indoors, weather not a factor.
That's for sure, Nathan. I will say, I think I'll take the sunshine and the cooler conditions, even though for the boys of summer returning to Toronto, it doesn't feel like summer. It really doesn't even feel like spring. This was more like a winter morning this morning, but temperatures are on the rise. We're just not going to get too warm today, as mentioned. Let's take a look at our current conditions. Wind chills still making it feel, in many cases, into the minus double digits right now. We'll take a little closer look at communities by the lakeshore. And yes, it is a chilly day today. We are below seasonal. Worth pointing out that the winds at least are light. They're coming from a northerly direction, so that's factoring into it feeling a bit cooler out here. On the satellite and radar, though, we've got nothing to show you, and that's a great thing. High pressure, loads of sunshine. Here's your day at a glance. We're forecasting a daytime high of +1. That's about as warm as it is expected to get today. So if you're hoping to come down to Rogers Centre ahead of the big game, maybe consider a few extra layers. I know for me, I'm wearing 2 jackets right now, Nathan and Michelle. But again, it's beautiful out here. I will still take the sunshine. And we've got lots more to come. A full look at your weekend forecast is ahead. But for now, I'll send it back inside to you both.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. A motion is carried at City Council, which would see an expanded police presence at TTC subway stations.
Councillor Brad Bradford put forward that motion, saying it's aimed at improving safety on the city's transit system. CTV's Janice Golding has been speaking with commuters about the change, and she joins us live with more. Janice.
Hi, Michelle. Yes, Toronto is one step closer to having uniformed police officers at every TTC subway station. At a council meeting yesterday, council passed this motion proposed by Councillor Brad Bradford to have the Police Service Board develop a plan to have uniformed officers at all subway stations. The plan would take shared responsibilities with special constables and crisis services into consideration. The mayoral hopeful's motion also asked that the Police Service Board include cost estimates and staffing considerations as part of the 2027 budget process. The three-pronged safety action plan proposed by Bradford also asked for updated cleanliness and lighting standards. Additionally, it asked that the city declare its commitment to constructing platform edge doors across the system with a multi-station pilot project to commence by fourth quarter 2027.
Police officers in all of our subway stations. It serves as an important deterrent factor for antisocial behavior, for assaults that have gone through the roof, and it provides an element of comfort. Safety in Toronto is the #1 issue I hear about, and in particular on the TTC. We want a system that is safe for a mother with a stroller and a senior with a walker, and unfortunately our transit customers right now just don't feel safe.
Too much of an expense. I think that those funds could probably be better spent elsewhere.
I don't think it's a terrible idea. I think there's been enough, at least reported, violent crimes and things like that. So I think for daily folks that are using the services of the city, I think it's a reasonable thing to do.
I think it seems fine without the police protection on every entrance.
There's a lot of things going on on the subways and on the streetcars and the buses lately that it's scary.
The motion passed 23-0. Of note, Mayor Olivia Chow actually supported the motion despite having criticized it earlier this week. Reporting live from Janice Golding. Now back to Michelle.
Thank you, Janice.
And sticking with the TTC, there's some major closures on Line 2 that will affect riders this weekend. Tomorrow, there won't be any subway service between Kipling and Jane stations to allow crews to carry out signal work. Then on Sunday, the closure switches to the stretch between Jane and Ossington stations. Shuttle buses will be running instead. And looking at GO Transit, Kitchener line trains will only travel between Kitchener and Bramalea this weekend. Riders can then transfer to replacement buses connecting to TTC service at Highway's 407 station. Up Express trains will be replaced by direct bus service. Meanwhile, Lakeshore East and Stouffville trains will run once an hour. Those Stouffville trains will terminate at Scarborough GO, connecting to Lakeshore East trips so riders can complete the trip to Union.
Police are asking for the public's help to identify a sexual assault suspect in Flemington Park. This incident happened early yesterday in an apartment near St. Denis Drive and Linkwood Lane, just east of the DVP. Police say a man approached a woman, followed her into a hallway, and sexually assaulted her. The suspect later ran from the scene. He was last seen wearing a brown hoodie, dark blue zip-up jacket, and light brown shoes with white soles.
A Brampton man has pleaded guilty to running a drug trafficking ring, which officials say moved hundreds of kilos of meth and cocaine through Canada and the U.S. 62-year-old Gumaret Sidhu is accused of running the operation from September 2020 to February 2023. Investigators say he arranged the distribution of 8 separate loads of drugs totaling 900 kilograms with a street value of roughly $17 million. The drugs were purchased in the U.S. and transported to Canada in semi-trucks. Sidhu will be sentenced in July and faces a minimum of 20 years in prison.
4 people have been charged in connection with a firearms investigation in North York. Officers carried out a search warrant on Tuesday at a home near Keele and Finch. Police say they recovered a loaded gun that had been thrown from a balcony. They also found a second gun in a vehicle. Joshua Parag, Wendy Parag, Derek Parag, and Jasmine Parag are facing a combined 29 weapons-related charges in connection with this investigation.
And Toronto police have laid more than a dozen charges in connection with a fraud investigation. 20-year-old Abdel Majid Benmao is accused of posing as a bank employee on 2 separate occasions last October and calling victims to tell them their credit cards had been compromised. Police say he arranged for couriers to pick up the cards, and then he used them to buy $25,000 worth of jewelry at a Mississauga store. Benmao is facing 16 charges, including fraud over $5,000 and possession of property obtained by crime. Investigators believe there may be more victims. Well, it's going to be a busy day for drivers in the city with all three of Toronto's sports teams playing at home tonight.
This morning, the city presented its traffic congestion management plan focused on keeping things moving. And our John Musselman has been following the story. He joins us live now with all the specifics. John.
Well, Michelle, you're right. It is relevant on a day like today, but this is really a plan moving forward for the city as we move into the World Cup coming to Toronto. As you well know, nobody likes sitting in traffic. Congestion is an issue, especially in major metropolitan cities like Toronto. Now, today there was a news conference here at Don Mills Road with city officials. The mayor was also here. We also heard from the city's chief congestion officer, and he's been telling us that they are making improvements here, including in areas like construction zones. They've decreased the number of days by 2.4 days less waiting time for people because they're speeding up those construction sites where they take a lane away. The mayor is saying also that fees have gone up when those companies close lanes during construction, so that's helping as well. They're implementing AI. They're using more synchronized traffic signals to keep everything moving faster. And the plan moving forward is to keep working on that. We got an update as well that some of the construction at Broadview and Queen is actually wrapping up today, which will also help. Here's what the mayor had to say just a short time ago.
Construction road closures are now shorter by an average of 2.5 days. At College and Bay, we've been upgrading the streetcar tracks, work that was supposed to wrap up in sometime late April. I'm pleased to announce right now that it will be reopened tonight, weeks ahead of schedule, because we added more workers and pushed everybody and it compressed the timeline. Queen and Broadview will also reopen tonight. You should be very pleased, Councillor Fletcher. 3 weeks ahead of schedule.
So really a lot of this is to get the city prepared for the World Cup, and that's coming up very quickly in June. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. City Council has voted to ban flying flags of other countries at City Hall and civic centers. Earlier this week, the flag of Bangladesh was raised outside City Hall to mark that country's Independence Day. Councillor John Burnside tabled this motion, saying flying other flags outside City Hall has led to division. Flags of Indigenous and treaty partners, the intersex pride flag, the Black Liberation flag, flags of sports teams, and flags of cities that are part of Toronto's International Alliance will still be raised outside City Hall. But this motion, it goes into effect. They'll stop flying flags of other countries come December.
Meanwhile, Toronto residents could soon be paid for shoveling sidewalks. Councillors approved a motion yesterday directing the city to develop a paid surge capacity sidewalk shoveling program. The paid program would only be used in what the city describes as extraordinary winter weather situations.
And Council also voted to explore the idea of city-run grocery stores. Councillor Anthony Peruzza put forward a motion calling for the creation of 4 not-for-profit stores in areas with high levels of food insecurity. He says the goal of these stores would be to improve affordability and access amid a dramatic increase in food bank use.
The Ford government unveiled its latest budget yesterday. Finance Minister Peter Bethlenfalvy says the spending document is focused on supporting the province's future.
So good that we have a strong balance sheet, AA rated. But that said, I'm not going to cut spending. We're going to continue to invest in healthcare and education and social services. Our population's grown. We have the financial means to do it. We're doing it responsibly. And then finally, infrastructure, the $210 billion of investment in infrastructure, schools, hospitals, roads, highways, transit. That's putting a lot of people to work. So it's not either or. You can be fiscally responsible, lean into your investments in social services, and build Ontario.
The budget includes a near doubling of the deficit for the coming year to $13.8 billion. The province is now forecasting a balanced budget in the 2028-29 fiscal year. The $244 billion spending plan includes $101 billion for health care, nearly $41 billion for education, and $14 billion for the post-secondary education sector. However, the opposition says the budget does not do enough to address affordability.
In Manitoba, they just announced in their budget cut to grocery taxes. Why can't Ontario do these things? When it comes to rent control, bringing back rent control, stopping all those above guideline increases we hear people talking about, make sure people don't lose their homes in the first place. These are the kinds of things that we aren't seeing in this budget at all. It's not the kind of budget that addresses what I think most people are struggling with right now.
What are the measures that they're going to undertake when they send that money to the ministries? So it's like the budget's they tell you a lot of big numbers, but then it's like, show me what you're doing. Tell me what you're doing, right? And so that's what we'll be looking for. For us, we're looking at affordability. I think that's really important. You know, the other point I want to make too is, you know, the budget and all the advertising, it says protect Ontario, protecting Ontario. The only protection in this budget is the change to the FOI laws that are retroactive, that protect the Premier, his cell phone, and the Cabinet.
Doug Ford is spending billions in Toronto on projects that people even in Toronto don't want. Meanwhile, people are struggling to put food on the table, a roof over their head. Students are going to be paying more debt now. Our hospitals and schools are struggling with overcrowded classrooms and hallway medicine. It's just a Premier that's out of touch with the day-to-day realities of everyday people. He's putting the wealthy and well-connected ahead of people like you and me.
Ontario's real GDP is expected to grow by 1% in 2026, increasing to 1.7% in 2027 and 1.8% in 2028.
Still to come on CTV News at noon, the latest on the war in the Middle East. We'll have more on the mounting pressure to end the blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. That's coming up a little later in the newscast. Canada's Arctic sovereignty is becoming an increasingly important issue, with concerns about what intentions Russia and China may have. This morning in Halifax, Prime Minister Mark Carney outlined some of what could be done to help protect our far north.
It's things like our partnerships with the Nordics, with the UK and others who are going to help us achieve Arctic security and have complementary skills in space, in naval, in AI, and others, and we can build out our strategic capacities, which translate that into spillover jobs and activity for decades here in Nova Scotia and across Canada.
The federal government recently announced $35 billion for Arctic defense and infrastructure. That includes $32 billion for Canadian bases in the region.
Meanwhile, Mark Carney's first budget bill is now law. The budget was tabled last fall, and last night, Bill C-15 received royal assent after the Senate gave its final thumbs up to the legislation. So, measures outlined in the budget now go into effect. MPs supported the document in February, but it was not unanimous. The Finance Ministry says Canada recorded a more than $31 billion budget deficit for the first 10 months of the 2025-26 fiscal year, as government expenditures grew faster than revenues. It was nearly $27 billion in the same period a year earlier.
A Liberal MP is facing scrutiny following a fiery exchange on Parliament Hill where he challenged an expert on human rights abuses by China.
Michael Ma is new to the party after recently crossing the floor from the Conservatives. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has the details.
You claim about forced labor in Shenzhen. Have you witnessed this yourself? Have you been there ever?
I've been to China many times.
Have you witnessed?
It's this heated exchange during a parliamentary committee studying electric vehicles.
Yes or no? So did you get that from hearsay?
That's getting a lot of attention and raising questions about not only Liberal MP Michael Ma's stance on forced labor of the Uyghurs in China, but the government's as well.
We have a Liberal MP in committee intimating that forced labor has not taken place in Xinjiang province against the Uyghurs. So the government needs to clarify its position.
In 2021, Parliament declared a genocide, including forced labor, was happening against the Uyghurs after the UN and multiple aid agencies brought forward evidence of institutionalized oppression. But Ma, a Markham MP who recently crossed the floor from the Conservatives and traveled to China with the Prime Minister shortly after, repeatedly questioned the witness about her concerns around the use of forced labor in China.
I looked around at the rest of the committee as if to say, is he kidding? Nobody can go from the West and see forced labor in China. They would not give you access.
Does the government still assess that Uyghur forced labor has taken place?
Ma was in the House when the issue was raised, but he didn't stand up to answer questions.
I want to be absolutely clear to all members of this House, forced labor is unacceptable.
Do you think there's forced labor? In a statement, he said, I asked questions that inadvertently came across as dismissive of the serious issue of forced labor. I regret this mistake and apologize to Ms. McQuaig-Johnston and my fellow committee members.
Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News.
The federal New Democrats are just days away from choosing a new leader. Party members from across Canada are gathering in Winnipeg to kick off the annual NDP convention after a 6-month leadership race to replace Jagmeet Singh. Voting closes Saturday with the new leader announced Sunday morning. Voters are choosing between Union leader Rob Ashton, social worker Tennille Johnston, filmmaker Abby Lewis, Alberta MP Heather McPherson, and farmer Tony McQuail.
In the Middle East, Israel is threatening to escalate and expand its attacks on Iran. The Israeli military says it struck sites in the heart of Tehran where ballistic missiles and other weapons are produced. It said missile launchers and storage sites in western Iran were also attacked. Iranian strikes on Israel and Israeli attacks in Lebanon are also continuous. U.S. President Donald Trump has given Tehran more time to open the Strait of Hormuz and insists talks on ending the war are going well. Iran has rejected a 15-point U.S. proposal for a ceasefire.
Canada and its G7 allies issued a statement today calling for an immediate halt to attacks against civilians and civilian infrastructure in the Middle East. Anita Anand arrived for the second day of talks at a gathering of G7 foreign ministers in Paris. Anand and her colleagues say there can be no justification for the deliberate targeting of civilians. They also reiterated the need to allow freedom of navigation through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has halted ship traffic through the crucial waterway in retaliation for U.S. and Israeli attacks. The G7 ministers also insist they are focused on supporting initiatives to mitigate global economic shocks.
Thousands of No Kings protests are planned across the U.S. tomorrow. It will mark the third round of demonstrations against U.S. President Donald Trump and his administration. An estimated 7 million people took part in the last No King protests in October. Tomorrow's demonstrations are expected to be bigger, fueled by anger over the war in the Middle East and the ongoing U.S. government shutdown. Several Canadian cities, including Toronto, also held their own No Kings protests in the fall. Another is planned for tomorrow at 11 a.m. on University Avenue.
Well, it is a beautiful day here in the neighborhood. The sky is clear, the sun is shining, and the Blue Jays play tonight. We are so back. And yes, it is a very cold season opener for the boys, but I don't think it's going to be the coldest. Take a look. The year 1980, we did not make it past the freezing mark, and we hope to do so today. Warmest home opener I could find on record was back in 2015 when it was nearly 25 degrees. Won't be anything like that tonight. In fact, first pitch, we expect the temperature to be about -2 degrees with a wind chill of -7. Again, good thing the guys play inside a dome. Lots to come with a full look at your weather forecast after the break. You're watching CTV News at noon. We'll be right back.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
A new suite at the Toronto Marriott City Centre Hotel, which is connected to the Rogers Centre, is promising to give Jays fans the ultimate experience. CTV's Jessica Smith joins us live now from Rawlings Room. And Jess, if you're a baseball fan, this sounds like the ultimate if you're at a hotel.
It is the coolest room. Ryan Soderberg, you're with the Marriott, and we have to take you guys inside because I want to introduce you. I want to have the conversation, but you got to follow me inside this room. It really is breathtaking. So come on, and we'll take a little tour inside. And although, you know, I don't normally give a tour of maybe a bathroom, but even this begins with the door as you walk in and the bathroom. But Ryan, I want to ask you about why adding this in. Last year, we saw all the renovations. We saw all of the really cool additions that you guys added in to the stadium as a whole for the hotel. But this is really special because there are some baseball touches in here that you have to see to believe.
Yeah, I think that we've been looking to try and find a partner to make an exceptional experience for a guest in a themed room. And once we partnered with Rawlings, it just took off from there.
There are some touches in here that I want to kind of get to. We're gonna go up the stairs. So if you follow us up the stairs, this is kind of a multi-level space, but from everything to the chair, to the pillows, to the view. Talk to me about why this is unique, because this is an experience that you have to watch a game that is like no other.
Yeah, this is an experience where you get to watch a baseball game live from your own bedroom as opposed to being in a seat in the stadium. The window's open, you are a part of the experience. You are a fan.
Now, I want to ask you about the Golden Glove here, because this is a really special touch. If you're a baseball fan, and I know a lot of folks, either you were on the bandwagon last year or you're a longtime fan, but talk to me about this, because it really is a special addition to this space.
It is. So Rawlings are the group that provides or celebrates defensive excellence in baseball. So every player, each year, every position wins one award for it, and so they've given us they've given us a replica trophy.
And I'm gonna take a seat. There's not enough room for both of us on here, but this chair, you guys, is made to look like a baseball glove for a really particular reason, and it's just got that extra hint to it. Talk to me about why you guys wanted to add in and work with Rawlings to add in these really special, unique little pieces to this room.
Rawlings is synonymous with baseball. You know, they are the sole supplier of baseballs, gloves, helmets, bases for Major League Baseball, and then they also provide the Gold Glove Award. So it's a terrific partner to work with when you're thinking about baseball.
Now, it sleeps 4, but it fits 8, and I know you're having an opening party in here this evening, so we're going to kind of get a bit of a view, and where that banner is going to hang, everybody, is right there. We'll have more tonight at 5 and 6, but I'm going to continue getting a view of the field. We'll send things back inside to Nathan and Michelle.
Looks fantastic. 8 people, what do you think?
That would be the coolest day. I mean, really. The view is the absolute perfect view of the game. And we also have a view this afternoon, not only from inside the dome, but from outside. Our Lindsay Morrison is taking in the excitement surrounding the city. And yeah, it's a little fresh. We're seeing our breath today, but baseball's starting, so spring's coming.
Spring's got to be close. You know that that's the case when we have the home opener here in Toronto. Let's go Blue Jays. Today is all about the sights, the sounds, and the smells. Of course, you know what I'm talking about here. We found a lovely hot dog cart. There's a thermometer here reminding us that the temperature is quite chilly, but that also the sun's out. And hey, it's lunchtime, so a few people have already lined up. It's going to be a lot busier here a little later on today, but yeah, we're enjoying this for now. Let's take a look at your forecast, not just for first pitch tonight, but right through the weekend. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm, the injury lawyers you don't pay unless they win. Temperature-wise, yeah, it has been cold today. We started off our day at -7 degrees. You factor in those winds, it felt like -15. Right now it feels like -10 at Pearson Airport. We are still below seasonal. We are still below freezing, and we expect to be there for the majority of the day. But we are hoping to make it to an afternoon high of about 1 degree. That would be nice. Into the night tonight, conditions are going to cool down once again. It's going to be another cold one. There's a look at the almanac. So this gives you an idea of the record highs and lows, and it also gives us an idea of the seasonal norm. So we should be reaching highs of about 7 degrees this time of year. Here's a look at what you can expect into the night tonight. And as we make our way into the weekend, you should know that the first half of the weekend is in fact going to be a bit chilly, but the second half brings improvement, brings some warmth. So we'll talk about that coming up. But let's also focus on the part of the weather forecast that is all about the conditions. We've got beautiful skies right now, a gorgeous blue sky thanks to high pressure. It is dominant today, but as we make our way into tomorrow, we can't rule out the possibility of a few flurries heading into your Saturday morning. Might get clipped here in the city of Toronto. Let's set the forecast radar in motion. Watch for a little bit of an increase in cloud cover through this afternoon, and then tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud. Flurries will be in the forecast too, as mentioned. Sunday is a bit of an on and off cloudy kind of day, but we do expect that it's going to be warmer at that point. So here's your 7-day forecast. Warmer by Sunday into the double digits, and then early next week, it is very comfortable. A bit of a mild start to next week, and then the early days of April look to bring us a few showers, bit of a cool down as the week goes on as well. But for here and for now, it is sunny. It is cool, but if you dress for it, no problem down here at Rogers Centre. This place is going to be absolutely packed a little later on today, Nathan and Michelle. For now, I'm going to send it back inside to you while I wait for my hot dog. I'll see you later.
Perfect place to be at the lunch hour. Appreciate it, Lindsay. Well, as the Jays get their season going, the Raptors are hoping to rebound at home after a 5-game road trip.
Ingram now guards him, spins away from the double, finishes.
The team coming off a 119-94 loss to the LA Clippers on Wednesday, which wrapped up a disappointing West Coast road trip. The Raps currently sit in 6th place in the Eastern Conference. Tip-off for tonight's game against the Pelicans, set for just after 8:30 at Scotiabank Arena.
And the Sepers will be looking to solidify their spot in the playoffs when they return to the ice after 10 days off.
Darryl Watts has Turnbull in front. Watts coming through, and they score!
The team's coming off a 2-0 win over the Boston Fleet March 17th. The two teams will face off again just after 7 at Coca-Cola Coliseum.
Still to come on CTV News at noon, concerns about extreme workouts. We'll have more on a rise in hospitalizations when we come back. Health officials in Newfoundland are warning about the risks of extreme workouts.
It comes after the province saw a spike in hospitalizations from a potentially life-threatening condition. CTV's Garrett Berry explains.
With just weeks to go, 27-year-old Kyra Fancy should be focusing on her July wedding. But recent warnings of sudden increases in rhabdomyolysis cases have brought back awful memories.
When I got off the bike, actually, I fell to the floor, my legs buckled beneath me.
It was her very first spin class, December 2023. She didn't want to fall behind the rest of the group.
Embarrassed, and I was like, I can't stop. So I just forced myself because I was like, the worst thing that could happen is I'm just going to tear my muscle.
What followed? 5 days of intense pain. When the pain didn't go away and she did go to the hospital, she stayed there for almost a week.
I couldn't understand how that led to me possibly like dying, is how he was saying it.
This kind of exercise-induced rhabdomyolysis is what doctors are seeing more and more in Newfoundland and Labrador. And health officials say the majority of those recent cases have been found in young women.
The body responds to a stress in a strange way, where the muscle fibers break down and quickly release their contents into the bloodstream, and this can cause some catastrophic problems.
Physiologist Joe Cannon says unusual and repetitive activities will increase the risk of rhabdomyolysis. Spin classes have been put under the microscope since the health warning was issued. Jill Whalen, coach and owner of Elevate Movement Club, says classes can and should be delivered safely with trained coaches.
The reason why, for example, this room for spin is laid out the way it is so that the coach can make contact with every single individual in the room.
She says both coaches and participants should be doing more to ensure everybody is safe. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
A $7.5 million gift from 407 ETR is aimed at improving health care in Peel region.
It's also meant to provide high-quality education to medical students. CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan has the details.
Hi there. Hi. Hey, Gloria. Nice to see you.
It's called the Integrated Health Center, and family medicine resident Dr. Amandeep Kaur says it will include various allied health professionals.
For example, nutritionists, like dietitians, social workers, physiotherapists, and many more, nurses, of course, nursing practitioners.
The aim is to make it a one-stop health hub, and it got a big boost from a driving force in the community.
407 ETR has made a transformative gift of $7.5 million in support of the TMU School of Medicine.
And at a time when access to primary health care is so difficult, especially in the region of Peel.
The two clinics that we have here will be having more than 14,000 patients attached to them. In addition to that, the clinics will serve per year 100,000 patient visits.
The Integrated Health Center first opened its doors in February, and since then, it's been gradually accepting more patients.
Can you take a deep breath for me?
Like Gloria Namrod, whose original family physician was in North York.
From Brampton, the area I live in, it was upwards of a 45 to an hour-minute drive, depending on traffic. So it was really difficult for me to be able to get appointment in a timely manner, just taking in the commute.
For resident Dr. Christopher Haddad, this clinic is a kind of coming home to Peel Region.
My ability to provide cultural competent care is very, very important. As someone who comes from a background of Lebanese immigrants, I truly understand what it means to give back to a community that do struggle in the healthcare system.
He speaks Arabic, English, French, and is working on Armenian. People from the Brampton-Peel area can learn more about how to join the IHC by going to the Integrated Health Centers page on the TMU website. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Still to come, the city is buzzing about the Blue Jays. We'll have more on the online reaction to opening day. Sam East is on deck when we come back.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
The city is buzzing over the Blue Jays as the team prepares to swing into its 2026 season tonight. Fans are hungry for baseball and have been expressing their feelings online. And up to bat now is Sam East, host with 99.9 Virgin Radio for our weekly segment, Chronically Online. Sam, great to see you. We've had months now to get over the very disappointing World Series loss in Game 7. How are fans feeling at this stage?
I think it's cautious optimism. That is the name of the game, Michelle. Excited, but also that heartbreak is fresh, right? It was only a few short months ago, but the Blue Jays social media team has been very active putting together this promo video to hype you up.
Is this the start of another storybook season for the Blue Jays?
I think the expectation is to get right back there and finish the job.
People are going to be coming for us. We're the AL champs, and we're coming for blood as well.
Guys will be ready for it. I think there's still something to prove.
The city, the team, and we all come together.
I don't know about you, Michelle, but I got chills from that. Lots of online reaction here. Last year was Infinity War. The good guys came so close to defeating the ultimate evil. This year, it's about Endgame. We have never been so back with a dancing Vladdy. And finally, with the meme from Titanic, it's been 84 years. So overall, I think that people are ready, whether, you know, they're being optimistic about it or realistic. Very curious to see how this opening night goes, the 50th season for the Blue Jays.
I know, the 50th season. I think people just want to get back there. Like, we were that close. It's just baseball, as we know, lots of games. It's a long season, but one step at a time, and tonight's the night. Sam, there's a new film, Project Hail Mary, that has had a very successful opening, kind of around the water cooler, hearing a lot of people talking about it, and now this film is trying to appeal to Gen Z audiences. Can you explain?
Yeah, so starring Ryan Gosling, our Canadian boy, not to give anything away, but it's a science teacher turned astronaut who has to save the world. Lots of reviews coming out about this, and one of the creative promo videos that came out used exclusively Gen Z slang. Listen to this.
Broski, I've got tea.
Spill the tea.
You've been chosen to pilot the Hail Mary mission.
You capping?
No cap.
No cap?
No cap.
This hit's different.
This is your Save the Planet era, bro.
I just don't know if I can slay this mission.
If you don't, Earth is cooked.
I'm just low-key panicking inside.
I'm high-key panicking for you.
If I do this and I don't slay, it's a historic L.
But if you do, massive W.
Okay, Michelle, you've got young kids. Do you understand what was said in that Gen Z promotional video?
Some of it. I didn't know people were saying low key and high key now. That's real.
Yes,
but
I know. We've got range.
I don't know. Is it on point? You're younger than me.
I think they slayed. I think that was a very clever way of bringing attention around this movie more than it already has. I mean, it went viral, and that was the whole point. So they hit the nail on the head. They slayed, as they say.
They did it. Apparently, it's based on a book, and a lot of people I've heard have read the book, so they want to see the movie.
Yes, and in IMAX especially, people are saying this is one of those movies that is worth going to the theaters for. And as we know, there's been a big struggle with this over the past many years. So if you can, maybe this weekend would be a good thing to see with the fam.
Yeah, we'll be watching what the box office does. All right, Sam East. Remember, you can catch her on 99.9 Virgin Radio every weekday, 2 to 5 p.m. Have a great show.
Thanks, Michelle. Have a good one.
There's a growing fallout from a landmark ruling holding a pair of social media companies liable for the addictive nature of their products.
CTV's Heather Wright takes a look at how it could change how the industry operates.
They are addictive by design, hooking young users to keep them scrolling.
She was always tired, grumpy.
Vanessa Simchich knows the effect social media can have on young people. She says her daughter was constantly online until an online bullying incident. Simchich enforced a 4-month digital detox and now limits her daughter's cell phone use.
She was more present in everything that she was doing. Her grades started to improve a lot as well.
Wednesday's court ruling, which found Instagram and YouTube deliberately designed their platforms with addictive features, is being called a turning point, a big tobacco moment for big tech.
The cigarette companies, it came out, targeted young people, knowing that that's how they got their lifetime customers. And virtually the identical documents have emerged from social media companies. They target adolescents because they know that their brains aren't fully developed.
Both Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, and YouTube have been ordered to pay $6 million US to the victim in this case, who says the platforms left her with body dysmorphia, depression, and suicidal thoughts.
We've been talking about for years the idea that consequences eventually catch up with everyone.
Frances Haugen is a former product manager at Facebook who blew the whistle on the company, saying it chooses profit over safety. With hundreds of similar cases working through the courts, Haugen says tech companies could ultimately be on the hook for billions of dollars.
They need to think about their internal governance processes and make sure that they have the checks and balances in place.
Among the lawsuits filed against tech companies is one here in Ontario, where several school boards have sued Meta, Snap, and TikTok, accusing the apps of being psychologically manipulative. While the U.S. verdict will not impact any litigation here, it is a sign, experts say, that the conversation is changing. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Coming up, a Saskatchewan senior is inspiring others to get strong. We'll have more on her weightlifting records when we come back. A Saskatchewan senior is setting weightlifting records as she follows her passion.
CTV's Sierra D'Souza-Bott says more on her dedication to exercise.
Maeva Bridges' interest in powerlifting goes as far back as the 1970s.
I started watching a movie called Pumping Iron, and it really sparked some sort of flame in me, and I really wanted to get into lifting weights.
When moving to Moose Jaw around that same time, Bridges built up the courage to try some weights of her own.
The floors were separate. The women were on one floor, and men were on another floor. So I asked if I could go up to the men's floor, which the owner, Dave Pyle, said, absolutely, give it a trial.
Shortly after, Bridges participated in her first meet, winning the Western Canadians in 1983. She then took a break to raise her children and continue her life, but found her way back under the barbell 34 years later, now powerlifting at 68 years old.
There are days where I figure I can't do anything. I feel like I'm going to break. I've had a bad day. I've been in pain all day. I walk out of here moving better. My joints feel good. I feel good, and I'm so proud of myself that I did it again.
The benefits of strength training for females is so widely researched right now, and it's so beneficial. So just seeing her keep moving as she does age is definitely a motivation for me.
So it's really oh, yeah. Recently competing at the Canadian Powerlifting National Championship, Bridges set 2 new records, one for hoisting a 140-kilogram barbell.
Still making good progress even with the injuries she's been struggling with, but yeah, she's doing great.
As for what's next, Bridges will be pumping iron at provincials in September. Beyond that, one of her goals is to break some world records. Sierra D'Souza-Bott, CTV News, Moose Jaw.
Incredible.
Yeah, she's a heavy lifter. Let's hope our Jays are heavy hitters this season, Lindsay.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, the vibes are high already here, Nathan and Michelle. This place is going to be packed over the next couple of hours here. And of course, it's a tradition, at least it is for me anyway, a hot dog with all the fixins outside the stadium, and the sun is shining right now. It is a little cool, and it will be chilly for first pitch tonight. Here's one more look at what you can expect. -2 degrees is what we're anticipating by game time at around 7 o'clock. Tomorrow's high, not much warmer. 2 degrees is what we're calling for. We do have a chance of flurries, but aside from that, mix of sun and cloud. We do get a little bit warmer into the day on Sunday. 10 degrees for a high, mainly cloudy skies. And if you want it to be even warmer than that, we'll just wait until next week. Some improvement when it comes to the warmth, but also some April showers as we welcome the new month midweek. It's been great to be live outside the Rogers Centre. Let's go Blue Jays. Nathan and Michelle, back over to you for now.
All right, lots to look forward to. Thanks, Lindsay. And that's it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison, who's about to have her lunch, and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great afternoon.